日本時間9月29日、米メディア ESPN では、ア・リーグとナ・リーグの MVP を獲得する選手について討論をしました。ナ・リーグの MVP の話になると、投票権を持っているティム・カークジャン氏が大谷選手の話題で止まらなくなり、バスター・オルニー氏、デーブ・ショーンフィールド氏も加わり、大谷選手の偉大さについて話が尽きなくなる場面も。ここからはその様子を字幕付きでご紹介します。
All right, so the Dodgers made the playoffs again. They won the division again. They're going to play against the Reds. I'm doing that game, that series. I talked to a Dodger guy the other day, and he said, look, we have the best roster in baseball. And I think he's right. And he said, we just haven't played very well. If they can find the mistakes that they made along the way and fix them and take the leftover starters that they have, Emmett Sheehan and Roki Sasaki, and use them out of the bullpen to fix that problem, I still think this is an exceptionally good team if they play to the roster potential that they have. Am I giving the Dodgers too much credit, Buster?
No, I think you're giving the exact credit that they deserve and they've earned. As one general manager said to me, when the postseason hits, it's like the Dodgers' DNA will kick in. I think that part of their slog through the regular season is boredom. You play in so many meaningful games year after year after year. You need the bright lights. I think they're going to respond to that. The big question is the 8th and 9th inning.
Yeah, the bullpen. I watched this series against Seattle this last weekend. Roki Sasaki, it's only 2 games, 2 innings, 4 strikeouts. Are they going to use him in a high leverage situation? Could you go 99, then that split? He could be a high leverage guy. And Blake Trinan, terrible year, but suddenly that sweeper, cutter, slider, whatever that pitch is, a lot of movement. The question though, Tanner Scott, we still haven't seen enough from him. Is he going to be the closer? Because he's had a tough year.
Right, but I think we learned from the Dodgers last year. Dave Roberts used 2 openers in the league championship series and 1 in the World Series, and they still found a way to win it. I think they're going to be just as creative on how to use that bullpen using the starters in relief roles, and I think they'll find a way. Will Smith is a key coming back. He's as tough as any guy there is. I'm not positive he's going to play in the wild card series, but once he comes back, that lineup is going to be complete. And when that's a complete lineup, it's the best one in the National League.
And this guy Shohei's pretty good too, huh?
Right. Again, Shohei rises to the occasion like almost no one I've ever seen. So today, on the last day of the season, a largely unimportant game for them, he breaks the Dodger record for home runs in a season with 55, of course, which he held at 54. Should we not be amazed anymore?
55 home runs. He's going to start game 1. No, we still can't wrap our minds around just how unbelievable this guy is.
I agree. He's the greatest player we've ever seen.
Right. And if he does start game 1, let's say he does. You know how good Yamamoto has been the second half of the season? Paul Skeens the only pitcher with a lower ERA in the second half than Yamamoto, and he is a perfectionist of the highest order. I was told he's always looking for the perfect throw, meaning every pitch has to be perfect for him. And they've told him, look, quality is more important than perfection. And if they can ever get him to think, I don't have to be the most precise man on every single pitch, I think he'll be even better, which is really saying something.
There's an argument to be made that the ball should go to Snell. There's an argument to be made that the ball should go to Yamamoto in that spot. But Ohtani's stature on this team reminds me of Larry Bird back in the 80s when they would go into a timeout and Casey Jones would draw up a play and Bird would say, forget about it, just give me the ball and get out of the way. Right. That's kind of what Ohtani's relationship is when decisions on the Dodgers. He tells them what he wants to do and the Dodgers go, yes, sir.
And there were a lot of high performances this season. So we have to get to the MVP race in the American League. All right, look, I've been voting on these things for 45 years. And there's some years, George Brett against Don Mattingly in 1985, where you just say, I can't get this right because both of them are the MVPs. What are we going to do with the MVP in the American League this year? Buster, you start.
So I think that there are a lot of players who actually would support Cal Raleigh's candidacy because they know how difficult it is to catch. They know his impact as a catcher. The Mariners with a successful year, the 60 home runs, and I think Aaron Judge is going to win the award. I think his preeminence offensively is going to wind up being decisive in this. His OPS almost 200 points higher than Cal Raleigh. As great as Cal Raleigh has been, it takes an all-time great performance to beat him, and that's what we got out of Aaron Judge.
Yeah, look at those OPS numbers, almost 200 points higher. Tim, you're going to love this stat. You know how many guys have hit 330 with 53 home runs in a year?
None.
Babe Ruth,
right.
Hack Wilson, and Jimmy Fox,
Right.
and now Aaron Judge. Those guys from the 1920s and 30s.
Right.
Historic year again for Aaron Judge.
Highest batting average ever for somebody during a.
Who are you picking?
I'm picking Aaron. Look, there are years where there are two MVPs, okay? I got screamed at when I picked Miguel Cabrera, voted for Miguel Cabrera as the MVP of the league when he won the Triple Crown and took his team to the playoffs, and I didn't vote for Mike Trout. I got killed. If anyone kills you for voting for Aaron Judge, they should be thrown out of the baseball writers, and vice versa.
Right.
There is no wrong answer here, but I'm voting for this guy because of the exact numbers. He's slugging 100 points higher than Cal Raleigh is. And we talk about, Cal Raleigh is his season has been more remarkable.
Yeah.
It's been more amazing. It's been more historic. But this guy's numbers are overwhelming. And the Yankees remember the trouble they were in with 3 weeks to go in the season. And who carried them into the playoffs? That guy carried them.
Yeah, he was fantastic down the stretch. I really felt that going into September, this award was sort of up for grabs. And Aaron Judge had a better September.
So how, for people who say Cal Raleigh had maybe the greatest season ever by a catcher, although Johnny Bench at 72, Piazza 97, right. Those were pretty spectacular years. For those who say it has to be an elite defensive catcher who plays the hardest position on the field, how do we explain that?
Yeah, look, he is the leader of that team. He's kind of a quiet, unassuming guy, but he played 159 games. Yes, he DH'd a lot, but their record when he started at catcher was way better than when Mitch Garver started. So you got to, give Raleigh a little credit for handling the pitching staff. He won the Gold Glove the Platinum Glove is the best defender in the AL. Unbelievable year. We're going to remember it forever. But it was just the wrong year to have that kind of season.
And just to be clear, the writers have to turn in their votes in the next 24 hours, right?
I will be doing mine tonight.
Right.
I'm voting on the National League MVP.
So the postseason doesn't matter at all.
Right. Nor should it, because if you're on a bad team, you should not be punished because you played on a bad team. So I think that's the right way to do it. Now, the National League MVP, well, I'm not going to talk about this because I'm voting, and I don't think you should be telling everyone who you're going to vote for because that takes away from the drama of the middle of November when the announcement is made. Am I wrong about this?
Dave, can I tell you something? Tim hasn't told me who he's voting for. He's voting for Shohei Ohtani.
We know, right?
Yeah.
There's one guy who's ever won 2 unanimous MVPs, and I think he's going to win number 3 unanimously.
All right, so I agree.
Don't say it, Tim. You got to
Don't
keep
say it.
secret.
We're not saying it. I'm just telling Dave he's voting for Ohtani because he's such a great offensive player and he's such a great pitcher.
All right, 54 homers for Kyle Schwarber.
Yep.
Unquestioned leader, maybe the best leader in baseball on the second best team in the major leagues. Does anybody vote for Kyle Schwarber? It's okay to say no.
Yeah,
No.
In some years, yes, but when it's 2 guys who are DHs and Ohtani's numbers are just a little better and he pitched, I don't see how you can vote for Schwarber, as important as he was to the Phillies.
Well, and we know, too, Kyle is a great teammate. He's a leader of that franchise. There's an argument to be made that right now the Phillies are the best team coming out of the regular season in baseball. He might get a sprinkling of votes, 1 or 2 first-place votes, but I mean, Ohtani's going to win overwhelmingly.
So a guy
in part because of Tim's support.
Yes.
A guy with the Dodgers told me, he just shook his head and he goes, I can't believe how good this guy is. He says every day he comes to the clubhouse, he is there to be the greatest player that we've ever seen, meaning his preparation, that every day he shows up, he's designed to be the best I can possibly be today. Let's face it, there are other guys who show up and maybe they're not ready to be the best player on the field today. This guy is always ready, and that is his secret. Does that sound right?
Yeah, look, as a kid, we grew up, you're reading about Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb and Lou Gehrig and Ted Williams, and you wondered, what was it like to watch those guys play? We've been able to watch a guy who's, in my opinion, better than those guys. As you said, Buster, he's the greatest baseball player ever.
And it's not even close. And you love to hear the stories about his devotion to the game. He's not a superstar who's distracted by doing this or doing that. Everybody who plays with him says that he cares about baseball more than any. He just, as you said, shows up early every day, does his work, gets prepared. It's why he's earned the right to tell the Dodgers what he wants to do on a given day.
I read a lead about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever. Shohei Ohtani pitched five no-hit innings in a game in which he hit his 50th home. Just think about those two sentences going together. No one's ever had those two sentences put together quite like him.
Thoughts on the Dodgers, given that normally they do not have to mess with the hoi polloi. They don't have to dabble with the wild card round. They're used to winning their division and waiting for a week.
Yeah, just the second time in the last decade they don't have the bye getting into the DS. But when you look at those numbers, season numbers, I look at what are you doing lately? And they're a different team lately because of their starting pitching. They've got Ohtani throwing the ball great. They've got Blake Snell throwing the ball great. Tyler Glasnow. They're in a really good position. So for me, it's about Ohtani. First time we get to see him as a pitcher in the postseason, of course, still going to hit as well. And when I saw him last time out against Arizona, wow. I mean, he was pitching off his fastball for the most I've seen him in a long time. He was hitting 99 in the sixth inning, averaging 99 in the sixth inning, held his stuff, went to 91 pitches, fully operational for postseason baseball. It's not like there's governors on him giving the ball and, we're going to have to get him out after 3 or 4 innings. No, and we know what he does offensively. We're in for a treat. First time we get to see the Babe Ruth of our generation, both sides of the baseball, in the postseason.
That is unbelievable. Just as you're looking at it, you're looking at 47 quality innings, and he was limited to that. And he's slugging .622. I mean, we never thought this was possible. Reds did win 8 of 11 to grab the 6th seed. Again, the Mets are another topic, obviously, but the Reds did win a bunch to get there. Thoughts on their chances against what we know is a very loaded #1 payroll Dodgers club?
Well, let's just say it's a 3-game set. I like that for the Reds' favor. If this series goes longer, I think the talent might play out like we see. But for right now, you're talking about Hunter Green. Lodolo was excellent in his last start, and Andrew Abbott are probably the 3 starters they're going to face. These guys can walk out to any major league game and show up and put the Dodgers in a tough situation.
Clayton Kershaw, who pitched on the final day of the regular season on Sunday, will not be on the Dodgers wild card roster. So he made his normal start today. He's had a good season, Tom. He's just edged out
really
numbers game.
Yeah, he's not going to start, obviously. It's a short series, as Jake said. I mean, longer series, maybe he's back on the roster. I'm curious. I thought maybe there'd be a spot for him in the bullpen. I mean, you don't tend to have a long guy in a wild card round, so. But when you look at their bullpen here, this is a different kind of bullpen for Dave Roberts. I'm not sure what his end game is. Probably Vesia, to me, is the most valuable guy for him late in the game, especially because you want Ellie De La Cruz on the other side of the plate. You want the lefty there. I think Roki Sasaki is going to play a big role for Dave Roberts. I'm not saying 9th inning, but I think I'd be comfortable giving him high leverage spots. Maybe it's a 7th. Maybe it's middle of the order in the 6th inning. You're not going to bring him in the middle of an inning. But watching this guy's stuff play up 1 inning at a time, hitting 100, I trust him. And I know he's had issues with throwing strikes in the past, but I think in short sample sizes, he's not going to fold under pressure. I think he's going to handle this really well as long as you say, okay, Roki, you got next inning. And I think he can dominate.
They could have Tyler Glasnow and Emmett Sheehan in long relief, which might protect those elite relievers that they'd hoped would be great that weren't this year. But, yeah, we got a glimpse of that when it was like a whole bunch of starters in there, including Kershaw, start the other day. And, not start, but coming out of the bullpen and just give them length.
Yeah, this is the one question for the Dodgers for me is if you've watched them play this last week, you haven't known who's throwing the 9th inning. They don't have a closer. That is not the ideal way to walk into the postseason. Glasnow and Sheehan, what kind of role do they play? Here's what I'll say. Leaving Clayton Kershaw off this roster, I think it does something emotionally to the team that I don't like. Clayton Kershaw 11-2 with a 3.3-something ERA this year. Swing and miss still in there. For me, emotionally, I would have had him on my roster. I think it does something to the rest of the bullpen if he has his cleats on down there. Probably not going to pitch. We understand. For me, I'm a big vibe guy at this time of year, and I don't know, with all the hype around Clayton Kershaw, if that last guy pitches in your pen, you're probably losing the series anyway. I would have him on there just emotionally locked in and engaged. That's what I'll say.
I'm kind of with you because he's been good, Tom. Again, I'm not even going vibes. I'm like, he's been effective. He's also looked like a guy that can deal. He'll have, just a quick sprint for one inning. Like, is Emmett Sheehan going to be that much better?
I mean, if you want swing and miss stuff, yes. But I'm with Jake on this. How do you measure the heart of Clayton Kershaw in a big spot? He's been through every situation imaginable. Again, you'd have to be careful with how you used him. You're not going to throw him in with runners on base in a dirty inning. But there's something to be said for what he gives you. I expect him on the next round if they do advance.
Okay. I say, even knowing his postseason disasters, he's had blowups, he's had great outings, and he's had disasters.
Yeah.
I get it. We acknowledge that. I like the way he's thrown this year. All right. Again, that's.
いかがでしたでしょうか。このチャンネルでは、日本人メジャーリーガーなどを中心に野球情報をお届けしています。この動画が良かったら、高評価、チャンネル登録をよろしくお願いいたします。今回も最後までご覧いただき、ありがとうございました。それでは、また次の動画でお会いしましょう。